Hello and welcome to OLEKSANDR. Right, the quarterfinals for Euro 2020 are set. But what I'm going to do today is go through all 24 squads who competed at this summer's tournament and pick out the one player from each team who would just totally flop by the summer of 2021 on Football Manager 2016. Let's go. And if you haven't already, smash the subscribe button, give us a like and drop a nice little comment below. Anyway, on with today's video. Italy, CIRO Immobile. He's one of the main men in the Italian team. He starts every game up front except for the dead rubber against Wales when Belotti got a goal. But he's the lead man, the number 17, even though he plays as a number 9. But he likes the number 17, okay? For Lazio, he has been incredible in front of goal in recent years. But on Football Manager 2016, he's an absolute flop. He started the simulation on loan at Torino where he got himself 10 goals. He returned to Sevilla where it was just absolutely appalling. He had 4 years there where he only played a grand total of 13 La Liga games and he only scored 3 goals. He was barely used at all. Finally in 2021 he's getting some minutes, he's back at Torino, signed on a free, he got 21 Serie A goals, but it's not enough to save his career. In 2021 he's only got 15 caps for Italy and he's only scored a single goal. And unsurprisingly, he isn't in the squad right now. Instead, they've got Andrea Belotti, Stefan El Shaarawy, Domenico Berardi, even Bruno Fernandes. Everyone but Ciro Immobile. Switzerland, Kevin MBABU. He's a name that Newcastle fans know well. He joined the club in 2013 or 2012, as you can see there. He played a couple of games, I think it was under Steve McLaren, and he was absolutely sensational, particularly up against Eden Hazard one night against Chelsea. But his Newcastle career never got going. He was sold by Rafa Benitez. He admitted himself that he was a bit of a party boy. He wasn't quite matured during his time at Newcastle, but he's kicked on in reality. He got a brilliant assist for the Swiss in their incredible, unbelievable win against France on Monday night to send Switzerland through to the quarterfinals on penalties. Yeah, on FM 2016, Kevin MBABU's so bad. I mean, he's still a centre-back, he's not a right-back. Obviously, I've got attribute masking on. I just didn't think when I was doing this simulation. But he's that bad, he hasn't got a single attribute. He's playing for Zurich, he's never played for his country. And he's just been absolutely terrible. He's back in Switzerland now, a 650 grand move to Zurich after a completely bust spell at Ellen Road. Wales, Daniel James. He's one of the young stars of the Welsh team that fell short at Euro 2020. They were beaten by Denmark convincingly in the second round, losing 4-0, but they did brilliantly to get that far in the tournament. Dan James going to be one of the stars of the future for Wales, but not according to FM 16. By 2021, Dan James has only played once for Wales, and he's currently in the Swansea reserve side. The lad has only ever played more than 10 league games once in the entire simulation, and that came in League One for Scunthorpe. For Swansea, he has barely played. In the Premier League, he hasn't played a single game. That's where Swansea are, but it hasn't mattered for Dan James, who's had to spend his days going out on loan to the Championship, where even there he hasn't been getting a game. How bad does Dan James have to be for no one to give him more than 5 games in the Championship? Dearie me, man. I know we're only going to look at one player from each team, but I have to give a quick mention for Kiefer Moore. He was one of the success stories for Wales, even though he was elbowing everyone. Yeah, on FM 16, he's still English. He's played in the National League. I mean, he's an absolute machine in the National League, hitting double figures every season. But it just shows how much he's risen in the past 5 years. From FM 16 to be a non-league player, in reality, competing at the Euros, up alongside Gareth Bale and Aaron Ramsey, playing alongside the likes of Immobile, Chiellini, Bonucci. Well done, Kiefer Moore, but FM 16, they thought you were absolutely crap. Turkey, Enes Ünal. I mean, Turkey were a difficult one here because there were such dark horses for Euro 2020 that none of the players were even known to anyone in FM 16. There's no Kaglar Sunchu, there's no Demiral. I mean, Çalhanoğlu, he's turned out quite good on FM 16. He's playing for Real Madrid, which is nice for him. But Enes Ünal, a name Man City fans might recognise. On FM 16, he's playing for Werder Bremen. He's just joined them on a free. And he just hasn't really had a career to shout about. A bit of an FM FIFA wonder kid in years gone by. Hasn't really worked out for Enes Ünal. In reality, he's played a lot more than 12 times for Turkey. Well, I think he's played 22 times for Turkey. So he's only 10 caps shy. This one isn't that bad, to be honest. Let's move on. Belgium, YOURI TIELEMANS. Belgium are in at the quarterfinals. YOURI TIELEMANS has been a brilliant player in the middle of the park alongside even better players than he has at Leicester. He's got the likes of De Bruyne, Lukaku and whatnot, which is, you know, even a step above the likes of Maddison and Jamie Vardy. But on FM16, Youri Tielemans is just a little bit crap, isn't he? He left Anderlecht quite late, to be honest with you. He was good in Belgium, he was doing well for them. I mean, he started there when he was about 12. He didn't leave Anderlecht until January 2019, where he secured an £8.75 million move to Tottenham. He got his big break in England, and so far, it's going really badly. I mean, look at that. Those average ratings are absolutely appalling. 6.66, his best average rating, and that was only from 9 games in the Premier League. Youri Tielemans on FM16 on this simulation was absolutely gash. Can you say? I've always wondered this. Can you say gash on YouTube? I've said it now, so that's what Youri Tielemans is. Only 14 caps, contract running out in a couple of years' time. Yet somehow he's getting 87 grand a week. Christ, Tottenham, man, why are you so stupid? You're paying 87 grand a week to a man who can barely string 2 passes together. Then again, I suppose you employ Moussa Sissoko. Denmark, KASPER SCHMEICHEL. We've got another Leicester player and another man he had a great Euro 2020. I mean, from an emotional standpoint, KASPER SCHMEICHEL and his Denmark teammates went through the absolute mill on that opening game against Finland. KASPER SCHMEICHEL, one of the leaders of this team, he did some brilliant stuff with Simon Kjaer. But on FM16, KASPER SCHMEICHEL isn't even in the Danish squad anymore. He's got 43 caps, but he's no longer in the squad. He's in the Leicester reserves. He's set to be a free agent in 13 days' time. I mean, he's been a Premier League #1 for most of the simulation, not a very good one. And in this season, the most recent, the 2020-2021, Leicester have finally given up on him. After 4 appearances, they stopped playing KASPER SCHMEICHEL, and now he's about to become a free agent. Imagine if that happened in reality. Clubs from all over would be swarming over KASPER SCHMEICHEL. But on FM16, no one is interested at all in KASPER SCHMEICHEL, the poor bloke. Russia, Anton SHUNIN. Right, Russia was a difficult one to pick, but we'll look at Anton SHUNIN. In this simulation, he's only got 2 caps for his country. In reality, he's got a few more than that, but in reality, he's pretty crap. So let's just move on and we'll not talk about Russia anymore. Finland's TEEMU PUKKI. When Premier League fans were watching Finland at Euro 2020, TEEMU PUKKI was the one they all had their eyes on. He was the familiar face, the one they knew, the one they've seen do the football on the pitch and score some of the goals. He's a man that Celtic fans will remember not very fondly. I mean, if you look at here, his spell at Celtic was pretty underwhelming. He had a renaissance in the recent years, moved to Norwich, he's been incredible in the Championship, he even did well in the Premier League. I mean, he'll probably do well this season as well, coming up with Norwich back in the top flight. But on FM16, TEEMU PUKKI never really had that renaissance. I mean, his average ratings for Basel were alright, but the goals have never really flowed, and he's just had a season in the French top flight for Lorient, where his average rating is 6.38, the worst rating he's had of his entire career on FM16. That is absolutely appalling. Imagine if he was that bad for Norwich, they'd be nowhere near the Premier League. Netherlands, GINI WIJNALDUM. We looked at him in the captain's video for FM16, but we've got to focus on him again here, because in reality, GINI WIJNALDUM's a Premier League winner, a Champions League winner. He's just got a massive move to Paris Saint-Germain on a free transfer. Yet FM16 have got him playing in the bloody Championship. This man's been relegated twice here. It's only happened once in reality. It happened at Newcastle in 2016. Despite his best efforts, here his best efforts weren't very good at all. I mean, at least in reality, he scored about 12 goals, I think it was, for Newcastle when they went down. He was sold to Liverpool, but on FM16, he somehow got a move to Bayern Munich, which was crap as well. Now he's at West Brom, where he's sitting in the Championship. I mean, this is GINI WIJNALDUM, for goodness sake. He shouldn't be playing in the Championship, he should be playing in the Champions League. He's asked to leave, he wants to leave due to the club getting relegated, and I guarantee there won't be a Champions League club chasing his signature. In fact, he's wanted by Everton, who are 11th in the Premier League, not a Champions League club. Point proven. Ukraine, OLEKSANDR ZINCHENKO. While he's the utility man for Pep Guardiola, he can play left back, centre midfield. I mean, he was originally attacking midfielder, but he's mainly a left back nowadays. But on FM16, OLEKSANDR ZINCHENKO is a right winger, and he's playing for Napoli, but he's only got a single cap for Ukraine. This guy just hasn't kicked on at all at the age of 24. I mean, he's still valued at 11 million quid. He's wanted by Udinese, which isn't very exciting actually. Let's have a little look at his career. At Napoli, he's just been naff. He barely plays, and when he does, he's rubbish. I mean, look at that. He only played 5 times in the 2019-20 season, and his average rating was still only 6.24. I mean, he'd had a better bet just sitting on the bench and twiddling his thumbs, watching TikTok videos. North Macedonia, Goran Pandev. Right, I didn't really know who to pick for North Macedonia, as a lot of the players aren't even on FM16, but Goran Pandev he's retired. And I mean, his final season in the Spanish second tier was great, 17 goals, but his average ratings were pretty rubbish. I mean, 6.49, 6.3, 6.35, pretty poor for a man of Goran Pandev's quality, but this one isn't great, so let's just move on. Austria, Marko Arnautovic. The combustible forwards had an interesting career to say the least, but on FM16, he just doesn't really play much football nowadays. While in reality he went from Stoke to West Ham, where he incredibly became a talisman playing through the middle under David Moyes, and then to China, but on FM16 he went to Sevilla on a free in 2017 after not really doing anything for Stoke, and at Sevilla he didn't do much there, and in the past 2 seasons he's only played once in La Liga, and it's only because they don't want to play him. If you look at his injury record, he hasn't had a big injury since 2009 when he broke his foot. The reason Marko Arnautovic isn't playing for Sevilla is they don't want him. And that's not very nice. I mean, I know he's a bit volatile, he's a bit aggressive at times, but he's a good player, isn't he? England, Marcus Rashford. Right, I mean, I could have picked loads of the players from the England squad. I mean, if you've watched the England squad in 2021, according to FM16 video that I did the other week, did quite well, you'll know that a lot of the England players on FM16 are doing pretty terribly. I mean, Dominic Calvert-Lewin's playing for Exeter, Maguire's still at Hull City, and Marcus Rashford playing in the Championship. He's just had a 650 grand move to Bristol City, and the guy is just nowhere near Premier League football anymore. He got a £6 million move to Swansea where he was awful. Didn't score a single goal in 8 appearances. At Man United, he did score 1 Premier League goal in his first season with the club, but other than that it was loan spells in the Championship where he didn't score, he barely played. And in 2021 he's just scored 3 goals in 13 Championship appearances, and unsurprisingly he's never played for England at all. Croatia, Ante Rebic. He's one of the more exciting players Croatia have got with his unpredictable style, but on FM16 he's an absolute goal machine. In the second tier of Italian football, he's playing in Serie B for Spezia, where in 3 seasons he's scored more than 20 goals every year. That's a lie, he scored 20 goals in his second year, but that's still very good. 22 in his first year, 20 in his second, and he's just scored 28 goals and provided 12 assists in 40 league appearances. That's a goal contribution every game. Why on earth is this guy playing in the second tier of Italian football? In the top tier he wasn't very good. I mean, based on this, Ante Rebic is brilliant, but in the second tier of Italian football, he probably would be that brilliant in the second tier of Italian football if that's where he was right now. Scotland, James Forrest. We arguably didn't say enough of James Forrest at the Euros, but on FM16, he's barely seen any international football at all. He's only played 11 times for Scotland, and he's not even at Celtic anymore. James Forrest playing for Inverness Caledonian Thistle, and he's been there for years. He joined on a free in 2016 from Celtic. Celtic just gave up on him after the first year of the simulation, and at Inverness he's been distinctly average. But I mean, this is one of Celtic's top players. How on earth has this happened to James Forrest? Czech Republic, MATEJ VYDRA. Right, this was another difficult one. I wasn't really sure who to pick for the Czech Republic. It was a little bit difficult. Either players weren't on the game or they were just doing alright. So I've gone for MATEJ VYDRA, a man who I haven't seen too much of at this summer's Euros. Formerly a bit of an FM legend, especially during those days when he was at Watford. Maybe he's FM14 was probably at his peak. Well, this is FM16 and it hasn't gone well at all. The only decent season he's had, well, he's had 2 decent seasons actually. He started off with a 12 goal haul for Reading, and he's just had an 8 goal haul in Greece for PAOK. Or is it PAOK? I asked this last time and I can't actually remember what people said. Either way, he's in Greece, which is nowhere near the Premier League, which is where he is right now for Burnley. But I mean, look at this season here. He signed for Stade Rennes for £1 million. He played 5 times and he's got the lowest average rating we've seen so far in this video, which takes some beating, of 5.84. MATEJ VYDRA of FM16, hang your head in shame, son. Spain, Adama Traore. Right, well on FM 2016 and 2021, Adama Traore isn't even Spanish. He's playing for Mali. He's got 7 caps for them. I mean, it's just rubbish. I mean, I don't like Adama Traore at the best of times, but this is just sad. For Aston Villa, never really got going. Even in the Championship, he was pretty poor. Moved to West Brom in the Premier League, £8 million, which ended in relegation. Yet despite that relegation season where he got 2 goals and 2 assists, Swansea, who've been in this video for far too much for my liking, spent nearly 10 million quid on him. They've spent more money and he's been worse. 1 goal, 1 assist and an average rating of 6.69. And that's why Luis Enrique doesn't want to play him. So will Danny Murphy just stop banging on about it? Poland, WOJCIECH SZCZESNY. Right, you've got to be pretty good to replace Gigi Buffon at Juventus. That speaks volumes about how good WOJCIECH SZCZESNY is in Turin right now. But on FM 16, I mean, he's still the Polish number 1. He's got 60 caps. He's playing for Valencia. That sounds pretty good, doesn't it? He's a wanted man. He's wanted by Man United. Things are looking good. But are they really? I mean, look at this. Started the simulation on loan at Roma, did brilliantly, returned to Arsenal, did rubbish. He was sold to West Brom, where he shipped 120 goals in 2 seasons and suffered relegation to the Championship. Got himself a move to Valencia where things are slightly picked up, but this is not the success story that WOJCIECH SZCZESNY expected when he was smashing the tabs in the Arsenal changing rooms. I suppose at least he's doing better than Lucas Fabianski, who hasn't even played football for years. Sweden, Victor Lindelof. While he's a Man United regular in reality, on FM 16, Premier League clubs have just been hiring average amounts of money at him for no apparent reason. He left Benfica in 2016 to go to Norwich. £5.25 million, looked like a smart little signing. First season went well, he even got 3 goals, got himself 2 assists. Average rating of 6.95. Not great, but not too bad at all for what is probably a bottom half team in Norwich. And then it just all went Pete Tong. He cost even more money when he went to Leicester, £7.75 million. He was rubbish there. He's just gone to Bournemouth for £6.75 million, meaning £20 million just shy of has been spent on Victor Lindelof in this simulation. And at Bournemouth, despite the fact he's got a goal, he's got 3 assists to his name, don't know how that's happened, an average rating of 6.83 as part of a strange Bournemouth team that includes Federico Fernandez, Lewis Cook, Florian Grilic, Callum Wilson and Lucas Leiva. What is going on? Slovakia, Martin Dubravka. Safe hands Martin wasn't quite safe hands really against Spain when he chucked one into his net the other night. I mean, he was pretty appalling that game. But for Newcastle, I mean, Newcastle fans know how good Martin Dubravka is, but they didn't know how good he was before he arrived. When Martin Dubravka arrived at St James's Park, I didn't have a clue who he was. If he'd walked past us in the street, I wouldn't have batted an eyelid. And FM16 did exactly the same. Martin Dubravka, he hasn't even made it out of Denmark in this simulation. He's nowhere near the Slovakia team. He's got 9 caps for his country. But in 2021, he isn't even in the squad. Germany, Serge Gnabry. Arsenal fans often wonder what would have happened if Serge Gnabry had stayed at Arsenal. What would have happened if Arsenal had kept a hold of this incredible talent? Well, according to FM16, he never would have played for Germany and his Premier League career would have been just rubbish. I mean, one season he got an average rating of over 7 and that's because he only played 3 games. He's played more in recent seasons, but he hasn't played very well at all. So really, it was a good job he went back to Germany, otherwise this would have been his fate. Not good enough for Tony Pulis and not good enough for Arsenal on FM 2016. Hungary, Peter Galashi. He's a top goalkeeper in Europe right now for RB Leipzig, and he's a man with a Liverpool past, a man who went on loan to Tranmere, to Hereford, to Hull. But he never once played for Liverpool. Back then, you'd have never dreamt that he'd be playing in the Champions League for RB Leipzig. And FM 2016 didn't predict it either. Obviously, he went to Salzburg, the other Red Bull team in Austria, joined RB Leipzig in 2015 when they were in the second tier. He helped them win promotion. And then he just never really featured. Now he's playing in Israel for Maccabi Tel Aviv. And finally, Peter Galashi is starting to get the credit he deserves with an average rating of 7.1, but sadly nowhere near the Champions League. That's a lie actually, I suppose they weren't nowhere near. They did get the Europa League, but I mean, that's probably better than playing for Hereford. France, Olivier Giroud. As if the French got knocked out of the Euros, man. How on earth did that happen? Going through their squad, most of the players have been predicted for success by FM16, but Olivier Giroud He's playing for Stade Rennes in Ligue 1. He's just scored 9 goals, not doing too badly. But this is a guy who, at Arsenal, after a couple of decent seasons, they just sacked him off. He went to Stoke and never really got going. Even in the Championship, Olivier Giroud only got himself 4 goals. This might not be the biggest flop in the entire video, but honestly, the rest of the calibre of the French team on FM16, how well they've done, there was no one else I could have picked. And finally Portugal, Rafael Guerreiro. Rafael Guerreiro is the man who flies down the left for Portugal, he flies down the left for Borussia Dortmund as well, but on FM16 he can't even do it on a wet and windy night at Stoke. He's got 2 caps for Portugal, somehow he scored a goal, he's valued at £3.6 million and he's wanted by Bournemouth in the Premier League. So perhaps Guerreiro can join all the other predicted Euro 2020 flops, well, him and Victor Lindelof. But Rafael Guerreiro, based on this, he cannot do it on a wet and windy Tuesday night in Stoke. And in reality, him and his Portugal teammates couldn't do it on a hot Sunday night in the Euros against Belgium. We will leave it there. Thank you so much for watching and let me know what you think down in the comments below. As always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to OLEKSANDR. And until next time, we will see you around.